Across the developing world, climate entrepreneurs are seeing opportunities where others see only poverty, vulnerability, and hopelessness. The Kenya Climate Innovation Center supports these entrepreneurs to develop climate change adaptation and mitigation solutions and build a more sustainable future for all.
We had one client, but things didn't work. The structure actually fell down. And we thought, what? This is something that we've fabricated for a whole week. And it was so embarrassing. We actually felt like, no, there's something not going right in this business. What do we do? Actually, that was our third structure. It was our first big structure and the third one we were doing. You know the kind of business you get and you say, yes, I've killed it. And then everything goes haywire. Those are the times you sit and say, oh God, if somebody else was writing my paycheck, I'll be sleeping. I'll not even be thinking about these people. Then there's somebody else who believed in you when you had not even thought of it as a business. Then you say, no, we just have to work. It has to work. We went back to Kcic and told them the experience that we had, and we actually looked for ways of ensuring that does not happen again. And you see, through that learning experience, we actually figured out the best way we can do our system.
Inside the Kenya Climate Innovation Center.
Looking at the times that we are living in, we have a huge challenge of climate change. Kcic is one of the catalysts, is one of the mechanisms that is helping Kenyans at least to change the way they produce things, and for the consumers to provide them with new alternatives.
Kcic is an incubator that supports entrepreneurs develop and deploy technologies that help communities to mitigate against or adapt to climate change.
The engine of Kenya Climate Innovation Center is the entrepreneurs that we are supporting. Of course, we expect that some will fail, some will succeed, and we can only be able to achieve our objective if they indeed achieve their objectives.
In Kenya, there's plenty of sawdust. The sawdust comes from government forests. So by converting this waste product into useful briquettes, perhaps we are able to contribute in one way or the other towards the green environment. I'm a retired civil servant. I saw a business opportunity going into making of briquettes. The concept of briquette making in Kenya is very new. Even today, I would show somebody a briquette and they won't know what it is. So when I started the business, I had to do various experiments to be able to come up with a briquette that is acceptable in the market. Since I joined the Kcic, that's last year, they have organized mentorship programs for us. We have started another one, acceleration program. So I would say we have learned a lot by the Kcic, and they're working for my success and the success of my company.
So innovation for us is business unusual. Can you provide more than a plain vanilla kind of solution in distribution, in business model, and in financing? And if you can be able to do that and address the challenge of the climate change, then your home is Kenya Climate Innovation Center, and we can help you as a business to unlock that into value.
Atukulima take hours is unusual because the idea of limited space, especially in urban areas, we are saying you don't have to think about the big chunks of land that we don't have in the urban sector. That small space that you have is one that you want to make a kill out of it. You are interested in farming. How do we make this farming cool for you?
Since we started working with Kcic, our business has doubled, almost tripled. Water comes from here, it flows through all the pipes.
Apart from just the trainings, they are always there. They are always like a phone call away. You can always call them and tell them, I'm meeting this client. I'm not sure if I should say yes or I should say no. The deal is so good to be true. What do you think? And they are always there to come and say, okay, fine, let me also listen as a third party and advise you if it's okay, or if it's something you're going to lose. Yeah.
So we want to provide affordable, safe water to the last mile. And those are people who in the last 50 years of independence have never seen tap water. So we are thinking beyond the tap. But more importantly, looking at the value chain, what I'm calling the water value chain. We have drilled a borehole. And from the borehole, we are able to treat the water. And then we are packaging in different innovative packaging materials. And then we are left treating that because we are trying to avoid contamination from our point up to the household level. We are part of the Kenya Climate Innovation Center program, and we have been able to expand from 2,000 homes to 3,000 when they joined us. And that is through increasing the distribution. And that's what we are saying. How can we model this so that even the grandmother in the Oloitoktok deep inside Maasai land can actually afford 50 shillings even if she consumes it for the whole week? So what's the challenge? Can we open up this space and start getting innovations into that space? And that's what actually we are doing.
The concept of the Climate Innovation Center was developed by the World Bank as a way to support developing countries to proactively address the issue of climate change through the private sector.
In this area of climate change and environment, it's very clear that the role of the public sector is very strong in terms of providing the right framework, hopefully incentives also to businesses to think green. In developing countries, there's a bit of a reluctance on this agenda because there's a feeling that respecting the environment would somehow impede the speed of development and limit the level of growth that you can achieve. Kcic can play a role in helping the entrepreneurs getting their ideas into reality, but also to show that it's possible. Help them develop business plans that shows that you can make money also.
This is how Climate Innovation Center idea was hatched, where the center itself will be able to unblock some of the challenges that the enterprises face. And this is what we've been doing for the last 4 years. And I must say, it's exciting for me to be part of that team that will establish the first Climate Innovation Center in the world. Fortunately, I'm a village boy. And I say fortunately because I think the village hadn't been. This background, what it taught me is that hard work is everything. Because of that hard work, I managed to get a very good job with KPMG, where I was working within corporate finance and transaction services. And I did an MBA from Copenhagen Business School. I also was working for a Danish International Investment Fund. And what I can say about all these three places that I've been is that it have really prepared me for the role at Kcic, and more so because the enterprises that we are dealing with here, they require all these services. They require collaboration with stakeholders, and my experiences from all these places have given me this backing, and therefore I feel that I have confidently been giving proper services to the enterprises.
The design and implementation of 7 climate innovation centers worldwide is the flagship activity of the World Bank InfoDev's Climate Technology Program, which aims to accelerate the development, deployment, and transfer of locally relevant climate technologies. The first of the climate innovation centers to launch operations, Kenya Climate Innovation Center, began in 2012. This was the inception phase.
And this is one of the best achieving climate innovation centers.
This is a demonstration that Kenya Climate Innovation Center is a lead actor in the inspiration, development, and actualization of climate change solutions in Kenya.
As you know, the World Bank is all about eliminating extreme poverty and promoting shared prosperity. And I think the KCIC is really the perfect example to show where we can do that and how we can do that. And Kenya is the place for innovation. You have a vibrant private sector. You have technology being used by everybody. And you have a young population which is very techno-savvy and which is really interested in working to help develop their country.
Kcic was established in 2012. This is after a grant agreement was signed between the World Bank, PricewaterhouseCoopers, Strathmore University, the government of Kenya, and GVEP International, now known as Energy for Impact.
Yeah, I think partnership is central to the climate solutions and action, to actually network with other like-minded institutions and organizations and people so that innovation can come.
So we are working together with CIC. Yes. A university should be in the vanguard of doing, the boundaries of knowledge, getting R&D, and changing the way we see and do things such that we can influence the life of people outside the fences of this institution,
Looking back at the 4 or 5 years that KCIC have been operating, I think my best moment is when we confirmed funding for the second phase of KCIC, which was actually 3 times what we initially started with.
Good morning again, and welcome to the Danish residents. I'm also really pleased.
So in that case, the Danish government had a lot of faith with us, and they gave us close to $12 million, considering that initially we had $4 million. Remember when we were starting KCIC, it was supposed to be a pilot project. We were testing, can this thing work? So KCIC by itself was a proof of concept. And to see that transitioning into even more funding from the Danish government, and the fact also that we are transforming lives, we are giving people alternatives, is also something which gives us a lot of joy and a lot of energy, and we truly need it. One key lesson that we've learned is that it's very important to have the right governance structure within a CIC. One, I'm looking at the institution itself and its registration. We decided to go for what is called a company limited by guarantee, which is a kind of an NGO but regulated within the Companies Act in Kenya. And the beauty of that is that you get tax exemption, and at the same time you become a charitable organization. Secondly, I think is your board members. It's very critical that you have the right mix in terms of the board members, the competencies, the energy levels. And if you don't have those skills, you will struggle, because then the strategic vision of your organization might not be implemented in the right way. We also have a 100% owned subsidiary called Kenya Climate Ventures.
Kenya Climate Ventures provides investment opportunities to early startup businesses and is the only Kenya-focused commercial return investment fund bridging the gap in early missing middle capital needs of climate-focused entrepreneurs. The fund will grow to 30 million in the coming years to continue to catalyze the green tech market in East Africa.
So KCIC as an organization is a high energy zone. The team and team composition is very important. I mean, this result wouldn't have been delivered without the team here. Currently, we have a team of about 25 staff. Average age is about 27 years. And the beauty of that is that they are flexible, they are innovative, and they have the energy to make this thing happen. Because for us to be a high performance team, we need to be energized. And each and every morning we have to look forward going to the office and to try to see what new challenges will be helping our enterprises to address.
I need to move my business from phase 1, I need to move to phase 2. Like I would say in the accelerator program, you identify problems. What do I have? What does King's Biofuel have as problems? I'll say, I'll need a dryer. That would make our production throughout the year. But now it's like we do it seasonal. But when I get a dryer, I'll be able to produce throughout the year. The problem still persists. Until such a time, I'll be able to have the funds to buy the dryer to take my company to the next level. So I would like to see the KICC perhaps come in, maybe in terms of grants, in terms of buying shares. Perhaps we'll be able to move faster than currently we are moving.
Small businesses have huge challenges. They have challenges in terms of the operating environment, the business systems and processes that they have in place. They have challenges in terms of accessing markets, and they have challenges in terms of the financing that they need to scale up.
The Kenya Climate Innovation Center provides 5 services that are directly linked to the challenges enterprises face. The first service offered is financing, helping take businesses to the next level through grant funding and early investment.
For the first 12 months, we provide our services for free. The reason for that is because we know the value of death. A lot of these people, if we were not to provide the assistance, they would not move their ideas to the next level, and therefore those ideas will die. An enterprise will come and say, I think I can be able to do this, or I have this, but I want to pilot it. I want to test it. So KCIC will come in and say, up to a maximum of $50,000, we can help you to pilot that idea. And if it works, that's where then it becomes even more interesting, because we refer you to a fund which we've set up called Kenya Climate Ventures to invest in these businesses into the tune of between $100,000 to $500,000. But that is commercial money. Now, if you require more than $500,000, what happens? If you require $1 million, then it's the role of KCIC again to hold your hand, open doors in commercial banks, open doors in private equity funds, and to ensure that you are funded.
Capacity building, providing technical expertise and mentorship in business to turn promising technologies into viable businesses.
The fact that you love this thing and discover this stuff, like the mushroom in a bag, or the hydroponics, or the rice that grows without water, doesn't mean you are going to be a good business person. In the Climate Innovation Center, we run a kind of a street MBA but there is no paper. You don't sit for exams. It is your life.
We will provide training services to the entrepreneurs. We provide them with business advisory services, and here we look at their business as a whole and try to help them improve on their strategy, on their business model, on their projections, work with them in terms of market positioning, distribution models, supply chain, everything across the length and breadth of the business.
Access to information. Entrepreneurs are kept up to date with general and specific information about markets, technologies, regulations, and what's new in green tech.
There's someone from Ghana who is actually interested in doing Ukulima Tech Ghana. We are not sure like where to go or how to handle it. So as we were talking to John, we were actually telling him, there's this client from Ghana and we want to do franchise. And he's like, what? To do franchise? Let's think about it a bit. Then he's like, we have Kcic Ghana. What do you think? You should talk to the entrepreneur from Ghana. Ask them to go to Kcic Ghana so that they can do a little background of them so that you're sure you're actually dealing with a person. And instead of thinking of franchise, you can think of licensing. And you're like, honestly, that didn't even cross our minds. Thank God we actually didn't know licensing is even easier to do than franchising.
Access to facilities includes desk and office space for networking and business meetings, use of technical facilities for idea testing and demonstration, and access to initial production and manufacturing facilities.
At the design stage, we had assumed that people will require hot desks. It's kind of another incubator where you just need to create space for people to come in and plug in and start working. Experiences have shown us that really only probably 25% of the people will require that space. And the fact is that they are dealing with hardware. So that's a huge lesson that we have learned from this whole process. And now we are providing warehousing and we're also providing storage facilities.
The fifth service offered is creating an enabling environment. Innovation is always ahead of policy and standards, and so the Kcic works with the Kenyan government to develop legal frameworks that support the development and adoption of green technologies in Kenya.
In 2013, Kenya declared the fact that they want to be kerosene-free by 2020. But the bigger question was, what is the alternative? And the alternative that one of our innovators came up with was to where they can provide a solution using technical alcohol. Now the challenge with that is that if they try to sell technical alcohol as a fuel for cooking, then the taxation regime doesn't allow it to be sold or to be competitive to kerosene. And therefore Kcic in 2014 until 2016 was working very closely with like-minded people to try and lobby the government. In 2016, the Cabinet Secretary of Finance led the budget, and indeed that was erased. And that have now made a whole new industry in Kenya. Some of the areas that we have had mixed outcomes is in terms of onboarding clients. Now, when you look at our proof of concept grants, about 50% of them actually have failed. I think globally this is not badly off, but it makes us feel bad. Maybe we made the wrong decision to invest in some of these businesses. In the new design of Kcic, proof of concept 1 will be done in tranches where we don't give you all the money at the same time. But more importantly also, we will be looking at the milestones that you are achieving. One other lesson that we have learned from this whole journey is that in terms of the enterprises that you are bringing on board, you have to be very selective. And selective because you have limited resources, and at the same time there are too many people out there who have brilliant ideas. And to that effect, we have a very solid criteria. Is it about climate change? Is it an innovation or business unusual? What about the team? Do they have the right skills? And finally, it's also about looking into Is it a product which have a demand in Kenya or within East Africa? And if yes, then you qualify to become a member of KCIC.
The social challenges facing this country are actually problems that we can be able to convert into opportunities. If we are looking at issues dealing with water, sanitation, they're actually climate agenda. How do we convert this into a sustainable model that can overcome the climate shocks? 12 years ago, there were not public toilets in the city. So I came up through collaboration with government, and I managed to put almost 70 facilities across Kenya. At one point, on average, I was able to serve almost 8 million Kenyans in a year. Now, that started making economic sense. Two years ago, I decided we have opened up the ecosystem, so other people now can invest. The regulatory framework is now clear. And that's when I decided, can I step now into this water sector?
Tulikuwa tunatoa saa zingine mtoni, saa zingine watu wanafulia hapo ndani. Unaona watu wakimwaga maji hapo. Saa zingine wengi. Nilisikia tu watu wakisema kuna maji ya hapa, nikaona kwa hatuwezi kaa saa hii bila hiyo maji. Ni maji mzuri sana. Sasa tumesikia vizuri, tukikunywa hiyo maji tunasikia tuko sawa, ama tangu hata wakati huo tukitumia hiyo maji watoto hawajaigonjeka tena. Na watakia tu wawe wazuri, wao wasima.
We are part of the Kenya Climate Innovation Center program. We have been funded at that value chain modeling. Right now we have about 3,000 registered households. We are looking at 10,000 as our threshold to comfortably say that we can break even, we can land profitably. We are also looking at other innovative impact measurements. And we are challenging, including USAID and other big bodies. Can we think about outcome-based financing for some products like water? That if you serve 10,000 homes and you are delivering them every week with safe water, then you are saving lives and we are going to compensate you.
Focused on the future, Kenya Climate Innovation Center continues to invest public funds to catalyze the private sector by supporting early-stage innovations and mobilizing private finance to scale up promising ventures.
I mean, looking into 5 years to come, my vision is that KCIC will remain the voice for the private sector and the voice that will be showing private sector how it can unlock the value within this threat of climate change and turning that around and showing how it can be an opportunity. What I foresee into the future is that we will become bigger, we'll be able to, instead of the 140, we'll probably be supporting more than 500 enterprises.
We have seen Kings as one of the company that contributes towards conservation of the forest, the air that we breathe in, and perhaps the ozone layer.
We have been using King's biofuel for the last 2 years. We are also making some savings in terms of the briquettes. Their quality is good. The waste is minimal. So, and it's environmentally friendly. So when we compare ourselves and our competitors, we found that we are in a better position than our competitors. So that makes us proud.
When I talk to people about the green energy, I feel very proud. In fact, this business is for my little children. So the business will continue generation after generation. That's my vision. when I'm out of the picture.
With the private sector kind of system, it means people are moving from being so dependent to being empowered and be in a position where you can actually make decisions.
I first heard about ukulima via Facebook. So with all this news going out about vegetables being planted in sewage and such kind of things, we wanted to be sure that we were actually eating, fresh organic vegetables. And with the economy right now, the vegetables are quite expensive in the market. So for me, I really don't have to spend money to buy. I just get them directly from my garden. So that is a good thing for me. And our children keep getting healthier and stronger.
For any young entrepreneur out there who wants to get into business, just wake up and do it. If you have an opportunity to be a client at Kcic, they're very honest. And I know you're scared. Most of the young entrepreneurs are like, oh, they'll steal my idea. We are here. Our idea is still with us.
As long as you believe in yourself, you believe in your idea, Kcic will be able to walk you through. And you should be ready to work. Oh, you should be ready to work. No sleeping. No sleeping. They have to ensure that this idea works. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Africa is still a continent that leaves a very light footprint when you look at the climate. But of course it's very important what kind of development trajectory that a country like Kenya chooses, and especially when you think about all those young people that will need employment, that will need to benefit from what choices the businesses and the governments are taking now. In a year like this, where we see the impact of the drought, it's really a wake-up call, if you haven't woken up already, that we need to do something about the way we use our resources and the way we produce and the impact it has on our climate.
I mean, looking back at my kids, I have a 1-year-old. Looking at him and looking at our planet in another 50 years, I see a huge challenge in the sense that if we continue in the trajectory that we are on, we cannot be able to guarantee their future. And for us to be able to guarantee that future, government, private sector, academia, civil society need really to work together. And therefore giving a better world, a better planet for the future generation, for the 1-year-old, who their future look dimmed because of this fact about climate change.